It's a dark, cold place.
He's touching my fingers that are wrapped around this thing, and I can't move. I can't move my hand.
It starts with a queasy feeling in the pit of your stomach.
Lots of activity going on.
Chills run up your spine.
Whether you believe there's ghosts there or not, these horrific things have happened there.
You can hear your heart beating.
And I stood right there and took it.
You can't catch your breath.
And I started to panic for a second. My eyes started watering and
I couldn't breathe. Yeah, your heart starts racing.
Sometimes it's evil, and that sometimes it's not. And when it is, you don't want to mess with it. Open the gate!
There's no escape when you're trapped on the other side of fear.
Our first stop on Fear's location list, the Duggan Brothers Cement Factory, built directly on top of an old cemetery. It became a gruesome factory of death.
The skin was hanging off of his face, off his neck, off his chest and arms. It was just hanging down from him.
Hopkins Military Academy. Its granite walls echo 160 years of brutal hazing rituals. Not all of its cadets survived this agonizing transition to manhood.
It created a space for there to be cruel things happening.
Camp Spirit Lake. What secrets lie in these dark waters? What evil lurks deep within its forest?
If for some reason you are drugged, and the next thing you know, you're all tied up, what are you going to do?
St. Agnes Hospital. The ravages of human experimentation echo through its halls. A medical institution gone mad.
Drilled 2 holes in the frontal lobe of the skull and removed brain tissue. Seemed to calm him down. It sure didn't cure him.
Buck Hill Inn. Once the jewel of the Poconos, now a rotting shell and host of severe poltergeist activity. A chain of horrifying events drove its owner to insanity. Abandoned in time, its only guests, the entities that wreak havoc on the minds of any who dare enter.
There was blood all over the place. You could actually see the marks in his head from where he had been beaten with a meat mallet.
The Uss Hornet, awesome World War II killing machine. Now known as the Gray Ghost, the Hornet sting delivered death on the water.
2 people up on deck actually didn't belong up there in the catwalks, and one of them lost his head.
Eastern State Penitentiary, where, under the cruelest forms of punishment, hardened criminals snapped. If Eastern State Penitentiary didn't kill you, it drove you insane.
Within these walls is imprinted the energy left over from the brutality of this place, this penitentiary.
These locations were chosen with the intention of scaring the cast.
We've had a lot of weird stuff happen, and it's just we really tried to write it off as much as possible just so we can keep on working.
What we didn't know is they would scare the crew as well.
So we are pulling up to the USS Hornet. It's an old World War II aircraft carrier. It's over 900 feet long, 5 stories high. It's housed up to 3,000 sailors at any given time.
The next thing we do is we bring our paranormal investigator and our psychic, and they both come in and they really get in tune to what the location is all about, what the hot spots are. And when you see them react to certain, rooms,
it scares the hell out of me.
It really does. And you're like, this is it.
This is it. It's like, I knew it was it, man. I felt it when I walked in here. What I like is when you don't want to go into a room because you don't have a flashlight.
When we come out of a place and we're kind of shaken up,
we know this is the place. This is the place. Here we go.
What you're about to see is real. None of it is faked.
We heard about this story of a headless sailor that walked the hallways.
This ship has been decommissioned for approximately 30 years, and down below there's areas that have been sealed up for that long.
And there are toxic gases down there. And if you go in those areas, you may not come back out.
This ship was in service for 27 years, and approximately 270 people have died on this ship. So there's some strange occurrences here, a lot of them that can't be explained.
I felt a presence behind me, like somebody was walking behind me. I couldn't hear footsteps, but I felt something, and then it seemed to pass on my left and then disappeared.
You just have that feeling there's somebody behind you. No way, there's nobody there. You turn around, you may see an apparition, but there's nobody there.
I came by the Admiral's briefing room here, and I heard a voice say, "I'm over here, come here." I was up here by myself. I know what I heard. I wasn't imagining things.
Somebody hung themselves up here. They couldn't deal with this anymore. It just smells like a morgue in here. Very faint, but you can smell the formaldehyde.
Over here in this area, it smells exactly how it did over there. When I was standing there, I didn't notice the smell. As soon as I walked over here, I go, wow, that's the same formaldehyde smell.
This is where he died. It marks where he died. The column of air, it's a swirling. It's a swirling like this. It swirls up.
One of our camera technicians was down here last night. He was on his way out. The second cell, the middle one, swung open on him. And he thought it was one of us goofing around, playing a prank on him, and there was no one.
You hear somebody walking down the hall and you stick your head out and nobody's there. And if you don't get a little at least antsy, then there's something really wrong with you. Because, I mean, there are, you see things move, you hear things, doors slamming right beside you. It's not like they're like, down the hall or nothing. It's like right here beside you.
When we first came through to scout the ship, we were told of a break. Obviously prisoners of war and also just basic domestic issues amongst the crewmen here on the ship.
And this is where the kamikaze guy did. This is where he drove himself out of his mind. He didn't talk, he didn't do anything. He was very disciplined. He tried to kill himself flying in. He was going to crash against the carrier here, but he missed. So they brought him down here to spend the rest of his day.
The important detail is that Carla didn't know of that story, and if you reflect back at the true accounts, there was a kamikaze pilot that went into the ocean and they picked him up and put him in here as a prisoner of war.
He's right by my shoulder. He's right here by this thing. He's not north. He's not back against the wall. Guys, he's holding my hand. He's right here. My hand is really hot right now. No, he's touching my fingers that are wrapped around this thing and I can't move. He's right here. My hand, feel if my fingers are warm.
Yeah, very much.
They're very hot, feel them. And my other hand is cold. It's white hot. Somebody was touching me. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hearing noises. You don't even know.
Coming Sunday, February 18th at 8.
They're locked into their hotel rooms for 48 hours prior to arriving at the location. Their food is brought to them, television's taken away, their radio's taken away. It's kind of a sensory deprivation thing we do for them, so that when they get ready to start their experience, they come in here ready to accept the location, and they're really mentally prepped for their 48-hour excursion.
They're instructed never to turn off their cameras. I tell them how serious it is that they film everything because they are my eyes. I don't see what happens. I review it later.
We put down over 30,000 feet of cable, over 52 some cameras to record their experiences. And, we got to do it again next week. We're headed to the Eastern State Penitentiary.
If Eastern State Penitentiary didn't kill you, it drove you insane.
This was actually the first penitentiary built in America. The word penitentiary comes from penant, paying penance. Yeah, the original idea was that solitude and isolation of prisoners would give them time to reflect, and isolation just disturbed the prisoners more so, and ultimately, it fails.